Peter MacKay, good to see you again.
Peter,
thanks for stopping by. What do you think of what you've witnessed here so far this weekend at this convention with this party that's in this process of renewal? That we'll talk about that. You might be a deeper part of down the road.
Well, you know, it's interesting having been to a number of conventions, both when we were in government, previous to government, in the Progressive Conservative Party. This one feels pretty good, I must say. There's an optimistic feeling. A rejuvenation is happening clearly, demonstrably, when you see young people here, the diversity of our party. But more than that, the openness and the willingness to discuss what were contentious issues, but issues that previously tended to divide us. We've been able to find consensus. We've been able to move past some of these issues and say, we have to do this together. And I think people are leaving here with a very, very optimistic, upbeat feeling in their hearts.
Let's talk about a couple of those things.
Sure.
Same-sex marriage, the party's moving on from that. How important is that?
I think it's important on a number of levels. I think it signals that inclusivity, that understanding. People still feel very strongly about it. There's still an emotional reaction in some corridors. But it's not the driving or the defining issue for the party, nor should it be. So I think it demonstrates maturity on our part. Some might, criticize us for that, but I think we were respectful of the diversity of views on this, and we're at a point in our history now where people are accepting that this is the reality.
Where are you in the process of deciding whether or not you want to take a run at the leadership of this party?
Well, the short answer is I'm not there yet. I didn't come here to make an announcement. I didn't come here to do anything more than really participate in what is a family reunion for me, and it was great to see so many of my colleagues, great to see some of the new members of Parliament. I note that we doubled our number of MPs in Quebec. We have some rebuilding to do, obviously, in many regions, including my own in Atlantic Canada. But I have a lot of factors in my life, most notably, as you know, young children. A wife who's been very, very supportive of me, and Nazanin has been really the greatest joy of my life. And in truth, I've seen too many people enter politics with a family and sadly leave without one. I was blessed in that I did it the other way. I met my wife while I was in politics. And so that is the calculus for me, is what will the impact be on my family. But I think heavily about the issues in the country, and I'm engaged and interested, and it's something I have to weigh further.
Why do you think the party could use Peter MacKay?
Well, I mean, the party can use a leader, and there's a position, obviously, that I sought once before, albeit in a different time. I have a history in the party that goes back almost 2 decades. I would simply point out that I put a lot of time and effort, most of my professional life, into helping to rebuild our Conservative Party and bring it back to the point where we find it today, where we're a competitive Democratic Party that I believe really embodies the important values and the important characteristics of the country. And look, the party will make that decision based on merit, based on policies, based on personal commitment that all of the leadership candidates will have, and it's going to be a competition. I suspect we could have, as many as 10 or 12 candidates before this election of a new leader is decided. So I'm not making a pitch because, again, I don't want to preempt any decision, but, the party will need strong leadership. We need to be competitive in the next campaign, and we're up against somebody who is clearly very charismatic. But I think what the party will offer in the alternative will have to be substance on the economy, on security, on the issues that matter, but also be able to match some of that charisma.
You talk about the charisma in Justin Trudeau. What do you say to people who might be thinking in this party that what this party needs is a generational change in leadership after Stephen Harper, and you're not that? What do you say to those people?
Well, 6 years older than the guy you just mentioned. So I think there's a bit of a misnomer about this generational change, and I think it's about maturity. It's about what's good for the country. It's about what's good for all generations. This isn't really about any one particular generation. I know millenniums are important and voted more in the last election than previously, and that's a good thing. But by the time the next election rolls around, there'll be a whole new crop of Canadian voters. There'll be other issues. There'll be new Canadians, clearly, who will have arrived on our shores. The diversity of our party, I think, is going to be an important element of the new leadership as well. And to that, I think you'll find, and you saw throughout the halls, a clear demonstration of our commitment.
How big a consideration is the timing? And by that I mean there are people, certainly everybody in the hall would like to believe that you can win the next election, but it may not be the next election. It may be 2 elections, and that represents a much larger time commitment to get to the objective of government.
Sure.
How much is that a factor for you? And I guess it comes back to the family issue and how much time you have to spend away to get there.
Yeah, that's a good question, Peter, and you're a keen follower of politics for many years. Timing is everything in life and in politics. Whether it takes 1 campaign or 2 is certainly a factor that I would consider. I suspect everyone would consider. I think it is achievable. I think that this government can be defeated in 4 years. I think we're starting to see some of the unraveling of that right now, and some of the superficial side is starting to grate on people. I worry in particular when I hear just yesterday of a $9.4 billion deficit accumulated in 1 month, and a promise, a firm commitment from this government that they're going to rack up even more debt, massive debt. So I think about my kids, but I think about everybody else's kids that will have to shoulder that in a relatively short time. So I think if we stay on the issues, if we're constructive and offering alternatives, not just tearing down the government, that's part of it. We've seen plenty of that. But I think putting what we have on offer in the window, communicating well, using a lot of the new means to communicate that message, social media, all of those aspects put us in a very competitive position and an advantageous position coming into an election with 100 seats.
Let me ask you about time's running out for us here. So are you surprised at how much, and this is the way I sort of frame it, how much oxygen was given to Kevin O'Leary, who has just taken out a party membership? He was, 2 or 3 times he got to appear in candidate sort of showcases here. You okay with that?
I'm okay with anybody that wants to contribute and wants to provide their ideas, wants to be part of the conversation, as he was. I think that's, again, symptomatic of a party that's open, that's ready to embrace new ideas. And look, it was about what the members here, the members of the party, wanted to hear. There's a certain curiosity, I suppose, about this guy. The fact that he took out a membership 2 days ago, that goes back to an issue of commitment to the party.
What do you think it says?
Well, he's new. He's brand new.
So do you think that was something he did so he could get to the convention and speak, or
Clearly.
Or do you think that wants to be a member of the Conservative Party and maybe might even run as a candidate?
I think it was a prerequisite, although I could be wrong, that he actually be a member to be in the hall.
Right.
And again, I don't want to start like I'm picking a fight with the guy, but he's also mused publicly about running for the leadership of the other party. So we'll see over time. I mean, this is a bit like sport, and I make too many sports analogies, but there's a point in time when you have to get on the ice and on the field and perform. And by that I mean now it's going to be up to the membership when it comes to the election of the leader. You can't buy this thing. This isn't a Donald Trump scenario where you can fund your own campaign.
Right.
That's not going to happen in Canada. And I don't think, taking that analogy a little further, that there's the same visceral, seething anger in our country that you might see in the United States.
Okay, and a lot's been made this weekend of the gains made by the party in Quebec. Even though you lost government, you still have 12 seats in the province of Quebec.
Right.
He doesn't speak French. And he doesn't. He says that he understands Quebec. He's born in Montreal. He says he can still represent Quebecers if he doesn't speak their language.
C'est évident que c'est un grand problème pour lui.
It'd be a big problem for him.
And other leadership candidates, myself included, will have a challenge in that regard. If you're not born into the province of Quebec, or if you're not an Acadian, you haven't had the good fortune, I would describe it, of living in a bilingual household. But I think it's critically important that you make a real effort and a legitimate effort to have some capacity to communicate in both official languages. And, you know, I would say that this is going to be true in the not-too-distant future in the United States, that the presidential candidates will have to be able to speak Spanish.
Okay, Peter MacKay, listen, thanks for your time.
Real pleasure, Peter.
And we'll continue to follow where you are in this process and enjoy, who knows what you'll decide at the end. And if it ends up being back into this business, enjoy all the time you can with your family.
Well,
we'll talk to you soon.
I'm enjoying that, and being in the private sector too gives you a certain perspective that's important when you assess these decisions. So thanks for your time, Peter.
Good to see you. Take care.
Cheers.